Hello, and a very, very happy day to you. I'm so grateful that you're going to be spending a little bit of time with me, that we're going to have about 30 minutes together to check in with each other and see where we're at. It is the end of March. Can you believe it? The last 3 months have just absolutely flown by. Yes, on one hand, it's been a very rich and very intensive time, and then at the other hand it's like, oh my goodness, where have the last 3 months gone? Now, if you're remembering back, the journey we started in January was a boot camp, and then I extended the boot camp by 1 month and just looked at how can we intensify what we've been doing, how can we take that momentum that we've been creating and now get into some really nice takeoff, get into some patterns that are getting more lodged in our neurology, to where we don't constantly have to think about it and we don't have to use willpower in order to practice those new behaviors. It's more about getting it into a default mode so we don't have to think about it. And then it becomes a pattern. After a while of practicing a new way of being, a new way of thinking, which then of course totally influences our feeling state, and then it translates into actions and results in this physical reality, we don't have to think about it anymore. It just becomes normal. And that's the ultimate goal with any kind of pattern interrupt and wanting to change patterns into new thought patterns, feeling patterns, and action patterns, and then creating different results. That's what I'm all about. That's what I'm doing in my coaching practice. That's what I'm doing in my teachings. And that's always my message. The message hasn't changed. And with my own studies and dialing it in more and more and more, I get even more convinced now about the power of the law of attraction and how our energy that we're sending out will be matched with the energy that's out there in the universe, and then comes to us in the form of people, events, situations, circumstances that then match that energy that we are sending out. And when we really get succinct about that, it is phenomenal what we can create. And I could tell you literally dozens and dozens of stories about just the things that happened over the last 3 months. Stories my students are sharing with me, my clients are sharing with me, the things I'm observing in the outside world, the things I'm reading about, what other people are manifesting. It is a technology, and we need to start understand that collectively. Too many of us are still running around asleep and haphazardly letting life happen, versus understanding, just like when we're using mathematics and there is a technology, there is a strategy behind it. When we're adding 15 plus 14, and then our brain goes, oh, that's 29. You know, it wasn't always like that. There was a time in your life when you really had to figure this out. And then there are different strategies in how you can actually put it together in a way where it makes sense to your brain, and then you come up with the correct result. Learning a new language, learning how to play tennis, learning how to play the piano, it doesn't matter. Any skill you've ever learned, you have applied a specific skill set, a specific strategy to it, to then achieve the results that you wanted to achieve. And then, what do you hear me say a lot? And then it's just about practice, 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 practice. Devotional practice is what I like to call it. So I was thinking about it this morning. I was meditating. I'm actually listening to a lot of Neville Goddard right now, and he's just so inspirational. Just pull up his videos on YouTube and you will see it's just phenomenal how by listening to him for 20-30 minutes, how pumped up you can get, and understanding how much you are manifesting your reality from the inside out. And one of the thoughts I was having was, whatever I want is already fully developed in the energetic realm, in the superposition, in the quantum field. The second we have a thought, it's done. In the energetic realm, in the realm of the infinitive intelligence of the universe, of the quantum field, where everything is vibration, everything is entangled, and everything entrains each other. Just wrap your mind around that for a second. in that realm, the idea is done. The goal is completed. The wish is fulfilled. And then it's about how much joy can I have in the fulfillment of that reality in physical form. That's what's shifted for me over the last few years. I used to strive and I used to work hard, and I was still caught up in this whole hustle culture and getting the ego boost from, oh, I'm working so much and I have 7 days a week and da da da. And now what I realize, it's just about how much happiness and joy and ease and flow can I create as I'm bringing down that non-physical into the physical, and trusting that it's going to show up just at the right time, when it's aligned with my soul, with my subconscious, because the conscious mind is the one that's freaking out. Why isn't it here yet? Why hasn't it happened yet? What am I doing wrong? Versus understanding that those are exactly the false commands. That's not the way to manifest, because then we're in a feeling state of wanting, of needing, of shoulding, of not enough, of lack, I'm doing it wrong. Versus understanding that if you truly have a desire, something really powerful, something really dear to your heart, and you have sent that into the universe in the form of a wish, a vision board, an affirmation, whatever it is, that in that moment it's done, and your job from that moment on is to do everything you can to be in the frequency that matches what you want. I received a really cool inspiration from a friend of mine when she said she was furthering her relationship with the law of attraction, and one of the exercises was use one of the wishes that you have for the future and do it now. So I'm actually still figuring that out. What is something that I'm projecting into my future? One day I will. Oh, when I have enough money, I will do this. Oh, when I'm healthy enough, I will do that. Blah, blah, blah. That typical, way of interacting with wishes. That are the dreams that are out there. Ah, yeah, if the circumstances would line up, I would X, Y, Z. How often do we do that? And I love that exercise that says, okay, so take one of those things that you've been putting out there, and you're putting all these conditions around it, that if those circumstances are perfect, then I shall have it, or I shall do it, or I shall be it. And do it now. So, I have not come up with one yet, but I will share it when I have. And then I will do it. So, that's going to be fun. And again, it's about the fun. It's about the joy. It's about the flow. It's about the excitement, the trust that we have along the journey. It cannot work if we're making it hard on ourselves. If we're putting those stipulations of, if there's no pain, then there's no gain. If we're trudging, if we're not in the flow, if we're not happy while we're doing, what is the point of it if we're not happy while we're doing it, right? So think about that, and think how that shows up in your life, and think about how you have been manifesting that over the last 3 months. Has 2026 been a good year for you up till now? Can you look back over those last 3 months and say, yeah, better than ever. It's been fabulous. And I don't give a crap what's going on in the world and what's happening in all these different levels. We're not going to get into it because you know exactly what your list is. That you could gripe about and commiserate with other people about. And none of that matters when it comes to your little bubble. First of all, you with yourself, you with your family, you with your neighborhood, you with your community, your circle of influence. When you really, really look at it and the level of influence that you have and what you can do versus what you can't do, what do you have control over? What can you be in charge of? It's your own conduct. It's how you interact with the environment and the choices that you make every given moment. When you wake up in the morning to decide to have a great day. And then there's this whole buzzword thing about, doom scrolling and people spend way too much time on their phones and all that stuff. You know what the parameters are that make you happy. You know what feeds you. Like I said earlier, I'm listening to a lot of Neville, and he has wonderful morning meditations. Esther Hicks, oh my goodness, that woman gives you so much energy. Just listening to her, and she's always so frantic and upbeat and like, oh my goodness, she's going so fast. But it can't not influence me when I listen to her. And I'm like, yeah, baby, it's a great morning. And then the same as you drift off into the night. Are you again just scrolling and looking at all the stuff that's happening in the world? Is the last thing you're doing at night before you go to bed watch the news? And you're like, such a rough day. World's bad. It is totally up to you. And what you feed yourself, you will exude. You know that. Deep down, you know that. So that's what I would like to challenge you with. Especially now that we go into springtime. So now the dormancy of the winter is fading away. Yes, it's going to get a little bit cooler again next week. Man, it went way warm, way quick. Felt like summer instantly, but now we're going to go back into the more springy kind of temperatures. All those beautiful buds out on the tree and all those little wonderful flowers coming up. The grass is so green. It's gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. Easter's around the corner. So put yourself into that spring magic. New life. Steaming everywhere. Just beautiful. And what do you want to put in your soil? What kind of seeds are you sowing? What kind of seeds have you been sowing until now, since this year started? And what would you like to tweak a little bit? So first of all, celebrate what you have achieved. Look at the list of things that have happened already, that were miracles, where you felt like it was magic, where something came to you a lot easier than expected, where you felt yourself being in the flow. So those might be material things that you attracted. It might also be internal change. And that's what I'm all about. Helping my clients, my students, to reframe those negative thought patterns into a positive mindset. One of the things that I worked on last year was worry. Worry about the future. What's the world going to be like? What's the world going to be like for my children, my grandchildren, my own life? Oh my goodness. Getting a little frantic there. And that was one of those outcomes I set for myself. And remember, those of you who were around at that time, I made it the 1,000-day project, which is about 2 years and 9 months. In case you don't know about that project, I got a report about goal setting. And people were talking about how when 1,000 people set a goal, guess how many people show up? 30%. 30% only show up. 70% never get even started. After the first months, we're down to 15%. And then by the end of the first year, we're down to a minuscule part of the equation. How many people are still around? And after 1,000 days, it is 2 to 3 people that are still with it. That is insane. When I think about how much energy that is, that has been wasted. How much effort, how much back and forth, willy-nilly. Oh, I should do it. I know I really should work on my health, and I know it would be so much better for me if I cut out X, Y, and Z, and if I don't do that anymore, and if I'm doing that more. And then we're not doing it. Isn't that crazy? When you really think about it. And only 2 to 3 people out of 1,000 are still with it 9 months later. 2 years and 9 months later. 1,000 days. So when I learned that, I was in Germany when that happened, so I got a sheet of paper and I put down the boxes. I believe it's 142 boxes of weekly check-in, and ever so often I look at the sheet, I evaluate where I'm at, and then I go, yes, I'm actively working on my project to let go of worry and anxiety, to embrace trust and faith. I have built certain strategies around it in prayer and meditation, as well as what I'm subjecting myself to in the form of audio, books that I'm reading, movies that I'm watching, the interactions that I'm having, the people I hang out with, the hobbies that I do. And I just got to put down my sticker for March 26. And I'm so elated how more flow there is now that I'm almost half a year into it. I can see the momentum and I can tell that the neurology is shifting. Now when stuff happens and I'm getting news from the outside world, I don't immediately go into the doom and gloom mode like, just another thing to worry about. Now I go, wow, how interesting. And from this point of view, from the life that I'm living, I know it's going to be okay. There's all that stuff about travel advisory right now and, oh my goodness, what's going on with the TSA and all that. I'm like, I know it's not going to affect me. I know I'm just going to be fine in 2 weeks when I'm stepping on the plane to go to Europe. And everything is going to flow smoothly. And I did ask one of my friends, because there was so much news about how much harder it is now to fly and all that. And she just went to see family on the East Coast. And I asked her, I'm like, so were there any repercussions? She's like, nothing. We were through security in 10 minutes. I'm like, okay, got it. Because it's about alignment. And then if whatever shows up, then that's what it is. And to not fret about it and be like, hey, everything's cool. I'm going to make it there. I'm going to be safe. Everything's working out just perfectly the way it's supposed to. That is the main thing I think here. Everything is just working out the way it's supposed to. There's nothing to fret about. So, there are things you have already achieved where you are on your 1,000-day track yourself, that you can celebrate, that you can be proud of, where you have momentum and you're feeling that you're making progress, okay? And then there are some things where like, yeah, I said that on the 1st of January, didn't I? Or I set this goal for myself last year. Or, gosh darn it, I know that I really need to make some changes because the road I'm on is not good. What I'm doing here is not conducive to who I want to be 5 years from now, 10 years from now. I'm hurting myself. I'm sabotaging myself. I had those. And I don't want to talk about it too much. And one of my goals this year was to dramatically cut down my sugar intake. And here we are at the end of March and no soda. So that's huge, 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 huge. Got my whole strategy set up around sparkling water. I have 2 cans perhaps a day, sometimes 1, sometimes 3. I make sure I have it. I make sure I have easy access to it. I make sure I bring it with me when I go to parties and gatherings where I know there will be soda. So I'm not gonna get sucked into the old pattern. Oh, just 1 is gonna be okay. No, it's not. In my word, it's not. I can't do it. Because I know if I go down that route, then in a week it's gonna be, oh, I can do it again, you know, and so that's how I did it for many, many years. And so that is one of those where now, in tweaking it a little bit more, I know more movement is a good thing. I actually have my running shoes, well, not running shoes, walking shoes, sitting right there, because last night, after the sun went behind the mesas and it started cooling off a little bit, I was like, huh, I could sit back right now and watch a movie or take the opportunity and take a walk. So then I went outside. I'm like, it's just a little walk. Doesn't have to be a long walk. I don't have to, you know, make myself do it, whatever. And then I'm like, I'm just going to go around the 4 corners. And then once I hit the one corner where it goes further, I'm like, I can go all the way to the mailboxes. Once I was at the mailboxes, I went, okay, I'm going to go all the big round. And that's completely at the opposite side of our neighborhood. And I did. And then I came back and I felt great. And I can feel it today because I woke up energetic after a great night's sleep and ready to rock and roll, looking forward to this meeting, and then going on with my day, having lots of energy and feeling good about having taken that walk. So that's something I'm in the process of tweaking right now and doing more of it. And not with the, okay, I'm glad when I'm going to be back. Oh, I'm glad when it's over. Oh, I'm glad when I'm done. That's exactly what I was talking about earlier. It's about, I'm so grateful I get to do this right now. Thank you, body, for functioning so well that I get to do this. Thank you for being alive and getting to do this. Thank you for being in this gorgeous environment. Thank you for having the ability to do this right now and doing that with every step. Learned a cute song many, many years ago in my NLP training when I was a student myself. And I know there is a lullaby tune to it. And our teacher, Susie Smith, she loved to sing. And she's told us that beautiful song. And I've been practicing it again. Every little cell in my body is happy. Every little cell in my body is well. Every little cell in my body is happy. Every little cell in my body is well. I can tell every little cell in my body is happy and well. I can tell every little cell in my body is happy and well. So that's the song I sang repeatedly in my head when I was walking last night. And then it puts a big smile on my face. And some of you were around for that, right? When she was teaching us that song. And it's never really left me. And I've really revived it in the last few weeks. Because I get into repetitive thought patterns. Oh yeah, it happens. And then singing that song in my head, having it as the background in my head. Or running some kind of affirmations, making identity statements. Those kind of things. And it becomes more and more normal. So on this day, at the end of March, I am committing myself to keep on with my 1000-day project as my worries and my anxiety are dwindling more and more and more. And I'm not fretting about life and how life's going to continue and what the next 10, 20, 30 years are going to be like on this planet and the future of my children and grandchildren and so on. And I'm including more and more peace of mind, freedom, trust, flow, and really being in the moment. All I can do is be right here, right now, and express myself with joy, with gratitude and trust. As I'm going through the day, and I'm serving, and I'm nourishing myself, and I'm hanging out with the people I love, and I'm part of my community. Whatever I'm engaged in, I just want to be present with it. Right here, right now. Right now, I'm with you guys. Later on, I'm going to be with my ladies from the crafts group. Then later, I have a client. Later, there is a community event. Then I want to go to the park with the kids. Be present in each moment with joy, love, and gratitude. And soak it up as much as I can. That's what I'm recommitting myself to. Right here, right now, with you as my witness. Thank you so much for allowing me to do that. For this opportunity, and then take that for yourself as well. What do you want to recommit yourself to? And I do see that we have a bunch of comments here, so let me just do a little quick scrolling, and I want to welcome everybody who's here. I'm so happy to see you, my dear friends. And if you do want to add something, I don't see any comments. I need to click on here. Nope. So nobody has really said anything that you're working on yet. So if you want to share that, if you want to commit yourself, if you want to put it out there and have us be your witness as well, your support, because you know energetically we are all connected. We're all in training each other constantly. And when you have a good thought and you have a wonderful emotion, when you have a wonderful idea, a wonderful goal, that is being downloaded into the collective consciousness. That is something I learned from Carl Jung, which I find absolutely fascinating. That every thought we have is a download. And it's now the property of everybody. Everybody now has access to it because we are all entangled, we are all one, we are all connected. The connectivity principle, we are all connected. You need to really imagine that. We're not separated whatsoever. There's no separation. It's a complete and utter illusion on the deepest, most profound level. In the quantum field, we are all connected. So you can draw on the resources of other people, and you are a resource to other people. You get the support from others, and you are supporting others. So let's see what you guys have come up here. I'm getting back to my daily habit to get on the mat with my yoga practice. Woohoo! Faith is alive and real, and I'm growing mine daily. Yes, love it. That is fantastic. So yeah, things like practical, physical applications. There's another one. I'm working on letting go of fear and claiming my courage. Yes. So some practical habits, physical applications, health, wealth, relationships, career and lifestyle, outward expressions, and then there's also the internal work. Now, according to the sources that I'm following, the internal work is where it's at, in making everything on the outside happen. When you have that internal presence and trust and faith and courage and deservingness and worthiness, it is much easier to put on the walking shoes and get out there. It's much easier to unroll the yoga mat and then do it. And then you're doing it with presence and with worthiness and knowing that you're doing something good for your health. And then the other level is the internal work that comes through meditation, prayer, any kind of resting where you can just be with your own thoughts. You're not being influenced by the outside world. You're dropping from beta wave function into alpha wave function, and that is the function that we need to manifest. The alpha wave is what matters, and you can do some research on that. And being able to be in the alpha wave, and actually yoga is a fantastic method, dancing is a wonderful method, taking a shower and just enjoying the water is a natural way to get into alpha wave. You're hitting it right before you fall asleep. And use those moments to practice actively, then being in that flow, in that entrainment with the whole universe and everybody else. And you're sharing your energy, you're also gathering energy, and you're in that beautiful, beautiful flow, back and forth, to enhance your energy field, to raise your frequency. So the frequency courage being mentioned, just imagine living in a place of courage every single day, and that is your whole experience. And just like I was able to let go of some of my anxiety and the worries, and they're now turning into thoughts of trust and faith and positive expectations and hope, I know that you will also turn your ambivalence with practice, with diligent devotional practice, into a general feeling of well-being, trusting, and having that courage to move forward. And let me tell you one thing, and I know that pertains to everybody. It is not that a hero is never afraid, but they do it anyway. And I love that so much. I don't remember where I heard it. Many, many years ago. And that was pivotal. It's not that they're never afraid, but they do it anyway. So take that with you this morning, okay? I'm looking very much forward to seeing you again. Make sure that you check out my bootcamp group. If you are not a member yet, please send me a message, make a comment. I will send you an invitation. It's a private group because we go a lot deeper. And we're also opening ourselves up with our very personal learning journeys. And that is something that we keep sacred. And I would love to invite you to be part of that if that floats your boat. And then for those of you who really want to go deeper, check it out, what I have to offer. And I always have some kind of a mastermind group, some classes, and of course I'm also offering my personal coaching. With that, I wish you a wonderful rest of your day, and I see you soon again. Bye.